Hey everybody, it's Heather Campbell here for Ellen Hutson, and I'm back with another quick 2-minute tip video. Today's video is going to be all about heat embossing. I'm going to be using the new Arctic Pals stamp set as I demonstrate just the nuts and bolts of heat embossing and then a few heat embossing techniques. So the first thing you're going to need is your heat embossing powder and then your Versamark stamp pad, and then you're also going to see me using my little embossing buddy. Now, I've transferred most of my embossing powders over to these containers. They make it really easy for transferring the excess embossing powder. So the first thing you saw me do there is I used my little embossing buddy to get rid of all the static off of my paper. And that helps so I don't have any stray embossing powder after I've stamped my sentiment. So as you can see here, I'm just very carefully adding that embossing powder to my stamped image. Then I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. So by doing that, it melts the embossing powder and then I end up with a very shiny result, which is really pretty. So that is heat embossing in a nutshell. Now, there's a few different techniques and a few different ways that you can use heat embossing, and I thought it would be fun to share just a few of them. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm heat embossing the narwhal, who is probably just the cutest thing ever. And once I have him all heat embossed, one of my favorite ways to really make heat embossing pop is to watercolor it in. Now, I could watercolor just my little narwhal there, but I think it's really fun for this technique to show how that heat embossing really pops. The next application of how I like to heat emboss is to ink up my image in my Versamark, and then I will ink it up in my regular colored ink. And then I'll heat emboss with clear embossing powder. And by doing this, it actually creates the embossed effect of a colored embossing powder. So it creates a shiny narwhal that's blue. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat emboss it with white embossing powder, and then I'm going to ink blend over the top of it. And this is yet again another one of my favorite ways to add color. You can also use this with sentiments, and then it's really fun. Now, sometimes even though you'll use that little embossing buddy, you'll end up with strays, and you can remove those easily either with a small paintbrush or any tweezers or anything like that. So once I have it all heat embossed, then I am able to just go ahead and ink blend right over the top of it. Now, if it doesn't look quite as white, you can either clean up some of the ink that's over that white with your finger like I did, or with a paper towel. So there you have it. This is the essentials of heat embossing. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something, and have a great day.